So I just want to say a few words about my experience working with Raj and his people. I should say that I've essentially stumbled across Raj more or less at random online. I was looking at various options online, and I was impressed by obviously the feedback that Raj has generated over the years, and two, by the fact that it was clear, with the clear breakdown, that his pricing was super fair. Now, I originally intended, and this is now 6 months ago, to undertake a different trip than the one I ended up on. Turned out that bureaucracy, well, namely Chinese bureaucracy, conspired, and I have to say, to make my original plans impossible, I planned to cross the border into Tibet. And I was very impressed with the rapidity with which Raj responded to this, crisis in terms of tourist organization. Responded and also then presented me with a bunch of alternatives that would work well. One of which included a trip to Upper Dolpo and into Mustang, which I was interested in. And he immediately changed speed, focused on this, and came up with a extremely workable, extremely logistically robust plan. Complicated because, and somewhat expensive because of permitting issues and so on, especially as I was planning to go alone, but this is something that Raj dealt with very smoothly. And so finally I get to Kathmandu. Not a single penny has changed hands, but Raj has already done an awful lot of work talking to me, coming up with plans, talking to his people to make sure those plans would actually be viable and be realized. And I have to say, it was a real pleasure to come to his office and finally meet the man and to get a sense of who he was, and also to meet the two people he'd sort of, for want of a better term, appointed to be both my expedition guide and cook, two brothers, Geli and Labka. And I was only in Kathmandu for 3 or 4 days before heading out on the trip. They sorted everything out, and it was smooth as clockwork. Yes, it was logistically complicated because we had a team of 4 porters, cooks, Sherpas heading overland to Denai to the start of the trek, and Geli Sherpa and I would head by air initially to Nepalganj, the world's hottest town, before flying up to the airstrip close to Denai. Then we got to Denai. Raj is a distant presence now, but everything, amazingly, everything falls in place, including the mules, 5 mules, a mule driver, and so on. So the whole thing sort of came together in actually a rather short period of time. Just me trekking, and I was just very impressed by the levels of communication I had with Geli. Every day he explained to me what was happening, where we were going, how long it would take, and obviously these guys are super professional. All 4 of the other guys, they really knew what they were doing. Labka was a fantastic camp cook. Kama, super assistant. I could not have been looked after better. And when problems arose, we did have a problem taking the mules over the Nangla Pass. There was very deep, soft snow on the other side. The mules sank into the snow up to their bellies, and that was a dangerous situation. There's 5 mules in this soft snow, and boy, did those guys work hard, using tin plates to shovel a channel, a trench through the snow to rescue the animals. So they were right. I was useless. I was sitting there gasping for breath because we're close to 17,000, 18,000 feet, and it was the first high pass we went over. But beyond that, everything was, and as I say, that wasn't unsmooth because these guys solved the problem very efficiently. Beyond that, everything went supremely smoothly, and that's not, as I say, nothing to do with me. I was very impressed by the communication between Geli and Raj, but it's actually surprised me because here we are in Dolpa, and yet quite often there would be mobile communication, reception for mobile phones, and Raj would check in with Gelly and vice versa. So he got a good report. My itinerary was a little complicated. We're doing the trek, coming out essentially to Kagbeni, and then the idea is I wanted to go north on a jeep trip, no longer walking, into Upper Mustang up to Low Montang, which I've always wanted to visit. The issue was, and we discussed this before we're leaving, we weren't sure how long the trek would take, and obviously the permits for Upper Mustang would have to start the day we finished the trek. So, and I was a bit nervous about this. Raj argued that we should wait until the last minute when we knew what the schedule was. It turned out we went fairly fast, so I think we saved 3 days on the standard itinerary on the Upper Dolpo trek, and 2 days or 3 days, I don't know exactly when. I was amazed actually. I said, Gelly, have you checked with Raj? Have you given him an itinerary, a check-in time? Then we're going to need the permits so that I can get into Upper Mustang. And he said, yes. We're going to come out of this place called Sangda. And at Sangda, we're going to meet a car, a vehicle, a jeep. So this is sort of the end of the road with Raj. I thought it was amazing. So this guy's coming all the way from Kathmandu, which Raj did. He drove from Kathmandu to Pokhara up to Marfa. So it's a 3-day journey essentially to pick us up. We then drove back, and I still think it's one of the most amazing achievements of humankind, was to fit all the stuff, all the kit, all the gear into the car, plus 8 people. 8 people. That's 5 Sherpas, me, the driver, and Raj. It's inconceivable that. Anyway, the fact that we didn't all die of suffocation or something is amazing. These guys really packed in there. Anyway, we went down to Johnson, said goodbye to 4 of the Sherpa guys, leaving now a group of 4, which was me, the driver, Raj, and Gelly. And then we headed off for 3 or 4 days into Upper Mustang to Low Montang, a place I've always wanted to go to. And I have to say, I think Raj was a little concerned that I was cutting it short. I knew I didn't want to spend a lot of time continuing being out in the wilds, because I'd just been trekking for nearly 3 weeks. I wanted to get back to Kathmandu and have a hot shower and read crappy news on the internet, right? So I think we just spent 2 nights in Low Montang. But Raj made absolutely sure we made 110% best use of the time we had up there. We visited all sorts of amazing places, saw all sorts of amazing things, and Raj made sure it would happen. And then it was just a matter of 3 days of coming back, and that was a long trek because, of course, the monsoon had broken. There was road landslide. The road was out in places coming down valley in the Takola, in the Kali Gandaki Valley. And then we got to Pokhara, and I thought, Pokhara, we're 1 day from Kathmandu, it's easy. No, it wasn't, because of, again, severe landslides causing major delays. And I think it took us 14 hours, Pokhara to Kathmandu. And that's with the best and most aggressive driver in the world, Sundeb. But we made it back, and I have to say, trip of a lifetime, truly extraordinary. And a trip that was mediated, made by, and facilitated by Raj and by Gelly. They did a fantastic job, and I really appreciate everything they did to make my June 2023 one of the most memorable months of my life. So thank you guys, 1. 2, to anyone who's seeing this, these guys are great. Go work with them, hire them. They're trustworthy, they're reliable, they're responsible, and they're super experienced. They know what they're doing, and make the most of it. Thanks so much.